dear friends. It's a pleasure one more time to have you here in the Asia Pacific Conference of Young Scientists, APCYS 2021. We're very glad to have all of you here. I am very happy to see all the faces on the screen. And of course, we are very honored to welcome all the leaders from the world who are part of this fantastic event. Thanks to you, all youth from all the world are ready to present great ideas for a better future. Well, during this activity, during this roundtable, we will hear leaders talking about scientific culture and STEAM challenges. Today is a very special day for us because we're celebrating the International Day of Scientific Culture. To learn more about this, I would like to introduce Mr. Roberto Hidalgo, Chief Coordinator of La Red MEX. Mr. Roberto, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure and it's an honor for me to receive to all the delegation leaders in the Asia Pacific Conference of Young Scientists 2021 in Mexico, and moreover that we are celebrating today the International Day of the Scientific Culture. This idea, it's a joint idea with 6 other organizations from Mexico and Costa Rica that last year we launched to all over the world. But this year, many countries and many organizations support the idea to celebrate together this important action. As you know, the culture is integrated by many factors, about some of them about traditions, another one are, for example, the music or the folklore of each country, but also the politics and the communication and sports. All these kind of factors are integrated to have a culture. But the science and technology play a key role also in the culture, and that's why we are celebrating today all the people who has dedicated their lives to the research, to teach in the schools, and also to the dissemination of the science and technology. And this activity is really has a great value for everybody. So many people, just as you, are making this happening. So we are very proud to have all the delegations leaders together today in this Asia Pacific Conference for Young Scientists. We are sure that we will learn a lot from you, and we also want to show what we are doing in our country and share with other countries and some experiences and learn a lot of. So thank you very much for this big opportunity, and let's celebrate together the International Day of the Scientific Culture. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Roberto, for these nice words. We are all very happy. All of us who love science are excited to celebrating this day. Well, now I would like to welcome a very special woman who has received us in this fantastic state of Sonora with a warm welcoming and with all the team behind all this production and this event. Thank you very much, and welcome to Mrs. Celida Lopez Cardenas, Sonora State Secretary of Tourism. The mic is yours.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, because I don't have camera right now. I have a big problem with my phone, and I don't know why, but the link don't have the, the numbers for the code for going. So sorry very much, but I'm here, and I'm very worried for that, but I must be here to say that our governor, Alfonso Durazo, has a big interest to receive to this event, Right now, we have in our city and in our state around 11 countries right now playing baseball. And this, the age of the players is around 18 years old. So I'm sure that we have all the opportunities to make a great team to give to us security, the correct health services. And I think this is the first time that this event come out of Asia. So Hermosillo and Sonora has all that you want to know. If you want to go to the beach, if you're gonna go to eat the best food that you never, Mexican food that you never know, this is the correct place. But in the same time, let me know that this is the place. If you try to find the first deserts in all the world, we are between the biggest desert in the world. And if you go to internet and you try to find, we have a Pinacate, is a big reserve, and this is, how do you say, Patrimonio de la Humanidad? How do you say Patrimonio de la Humanidad? Everybody can help me?
Humanity, it's a reservation, humanity reservation, like nature.
Yeah. So this place is very special. We have volcanoes there. In the same time, we have beach, you have desert. We are right now driving in 1 hour in 2 different beaches. And I'm sure that you can learn more of our culture. We have 9 different ethnias. If you want to go to the Tiburon Island or Wake Island, is the second island biggest in all Mexico. But in the same time, in this city, we have a lot of universities and we have a lot of people learning about technology and science. So I'm sure you can find here the places, the people that is waiting for us. And my work in this meeting is very important because I represent here in this meeting all the government in the state, not only the city. We are representing this meeting the state, and the governor will help us to make a difference and to make a big history, to have a very great time with you. So please, if you decide to come, I'm sure for all the students that are connecting, all the fathers and mothers, all the teachers, all the people and the members of the organized members, you will be very happy here and you will be very glad because we have the technology, the knowledge, and all the heart to be the best experience in this event. Thank you so much.
Welcoming us in this fantastic state. Now I would like to introduce Ms. Bere Suarez. She will explain the activity and she will be guiding the discussion the rest of the session. Thank you very much. And Bere, the mic is yours.
Thank you to you, Liz. It's a pleasure for all of us to be here and to welcome all of you, our team leaders that are being so supportive to develop this activity of APCYS 2021. So, as we mentioned it in a previous session, the idea of this activity, or the main objective, is to hear the opinions and your thoughts, and of course also the concerns about 2 main subjects. The first one is about the STEAM challenges that your organizations has been facing during this pandemic, but also we will take the time to talk about scientific culture. So if all of you agree, we can start. So I will give the first question to all of you, and I will also appoint who is the first person that needs to open your microphone and to start giving us your opinions. So the first question that I want to raise is main challenges. What is the main challenges of your organization has facing in all this process to organizing STEAM activities during this pandemic activity and period? So I give the floor to Mrs. Una McCarthy, that is a representative from Cambodia. So if you can open your microphone and give us your amazing information about Cambodia.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay? Thank you. As you said, I'm coming to you from Cambodia. I am working with a local NGO here called STEM Education Organization for Cambodia, and we organize events to ignite a love of STEM in Cambodia for the next generation coming up. So we usually run, our whole work revolves around events, festivals, workshops, you name it. It's a normally face-to-face event. So since the pandemic, we have completely reinvented ourselves, and we have risen to the challenge, and actually we see it as an opportunity because our events were usually all focused on the capital city here in Phnom Penh. And with the pandemic, we have to transform ourselves and transform our events into online. And that meant reached across the country to the provinces, which is actually where it is really needed. So actually for us, it took a lot of work, but we were able to reach and attract attendees from the provinces. We delivered a virtual festival, our first ever online STEM competition that attracted entries in from the provinces, even to remote areas where there were indigenous communities, we had entries come in. And we also converted our STEM Sisters program to online. And at the moment, we're running the World Robot Olympiad completely online because most of the schools here have been closed for a number of months, and it has been difficult to communicate with schools. So you're asking me for the challenges. I would summarize them because I know our time is short. Our challenges are internet connectivity across the country, lack of devices. Some students do not have access to computers and phones. We also struggle with mindset because some people think that actually it's just too hard. I'll just wait until school's open again, but we must not do that because it may go on for some time more. So we need to convince people that yes, you can make sure your learning does not stop through this pandemic. You need to be open to these online activities. And we also struggle with language because in Cambodian language, our resources are not as extensive as they would be in, say, English, for example. So we are all the time developing our resources in Khmer and the mother tongue here, and as well as English, and trying to increase the skill level in English so that more resources can be used by teachers and students here. Not only English, it could be other languages too, but we need to be careful that we protect the native language too and develop my resources hand in hand with increasing our language skills. So they are our challenges, and we're just working steadily towards attracting as many people as we can, and we have done a pretty good job of that. And I think that this event has been amazing, and the winners of our online festival are here as our Cambodian delegation. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Maybe I hand the floor to somebody else now.
You, Dr. Una, it's a pleasure also to hear all those things. And if you allow me, I can like make a resume about your in your participation. And the main challenges that you are talking about is internet connection, the not native English speaker as a non-native English speaker. All the materials maybe it's like a difficult to have in another languages. Also this like encouragement about that not all people has the same devices or facilities to have these sessions of education and so on. So I will give the floor and we will move a little bit to Thailand in order to know what is happening there. So I will give the floor to Dr. Min. So if you can just give us a little more like a feedback of what is the main challenges that you are facing in Thailand regarding this pandemic and specifically in the organization of STEAM activities.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I am the representative of APCYS. We are Community with Science Academy. So students in our school are selected from all over the country. And they are selected by the ability in science and mathematics. So, but lucky, many of them have shown that they also have ability to perform music, art, and they also have interest not only in science but also in the arts. But the challenge, of course, this is not happening in all the kids. The first thing is that for those who don't have ability, they don't care. They don't know what is the importance. Okay. So I would say the first challenge is to convince them to understand why we have to combine all these STEM and art together, because we focus mainly on the STEM in our school. Right, that's the first challenge. The second is would be to convince teacher. We also have teachers that are able to do, science and math teacher who can do the art and music and some other activities. But because of the work that we have to face every day, it is not to have time the activity that make between STEM and art. So the second challenge would be to convince the teacher and to give them enough time to work on the STEM. Right? And especially in this time, in the pandemic, we also, even if we have quite enough but not perfect internet connection, but because in doing the laboratories to do the activities, we lack of the hand-on activities. However, teachers are trying to solve the problem by sending equipments to students at home. So we have about 216 students right now. So 72 per class. So for each class, some of the subject would send material so that they can do the laboratory home, right? So this is what we're doing right now. So the challenge of the STEAM activity during the pandemic would be the real activity, okay, the limitation of the real activity that we can do, the communication between students, the cooperation between groups of students cannot be done like when they can meet face to face. So that would be the challenges from us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Min. Yes, you're right. I think that all of us are facing this like no person contact and like no possibility to have like a relation, a real relation and a real connection with the people, because many times it's not like clearly understand or visible if their people is getting the same that you are saying. And I think that's something that you have raised about the role, the key role of the teachers in this pandemic is something very, very important to highlight, because I think that one of the most impressive work that the people has been done during this pandemic, it's about the teachers. The teacher has or needs in this moment to develop a lot of content to check many different possibilities and creative ideas to get and to teach in a better way to all these students that are not face to face with them. So based on this, I will give the floor to Mrs. McCormick, Christine McCormick, that is representative from Guam, in order to give us a little bit the perspective of what is happening in Guam, that is really far from Mexico, but the Pacific Ocean is joining us. So I give the floor to Mrs. Christine McCormick.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we are far away because actually we are beginning tomorrow already here. It is after midnight for us. And so that's how far we are from Mexico. And so one of our biggest problems, of course, being in the middle of the Pacific Ocean is getting supplies and to be able to run our experiments and things like that. And, you know, from the pandemic, there was a lot of, we had a lot of supply issues with equipment and things like that that just we weren't able to get. And then, of course, trying to reconfigure all of our labs from hands-on activities to now we are spending a lot of our time on the computer because we've got a really small island and we've got a very small healthcare system. So we've had to take it very seriously, and we've been doing online education for a lot, as many of the other countries here have been doing. And so trying to find good, reliable activities that are available for our students to share when they're behind their computer. And also it's hard because science is meant to be done, it's meant to be, you know, we're supposed to grasp it and put our hands in it. To always be in front of a screen is a real challenge because we can't, like, you know, we're missing that three-dimensional aspect of it because we're like staring at a screen and finding simulations. And I compliment any of the companies and people out there that are trying to put together you know, simulations for us to be able to use, and that's been really helpful to be able to do that. But that's some of the challenges that I've seen. You know, is just you know, trying to convert everything from being hands-on to being you know, online or socially distant, because once we're back in school, we've got to try and keep our distance between the students, and so that can be difficult to be able to do. And so that's one of the things we're finding.
You're right, Mrs. McCormick. And yeah, a little far we are, but if you can see, all of us are sharing the same problematic as I can see. So I give the floor to Mrs. Monica Raharti, that is a representative from Indonesia, in order to know a little bit more what is also happening regarding these STEAM challenges that the organization are facing due to the pandemic, not only for the education, but also for making all the organization and organizing activities about STEAM. So, Monica, the mic is yours. Microphone. Money. Something is happening. Well, we can move to Mr. Kukuro Kohar, that is also representative from Indonesia, in order that he can give us like this feedback of what is happening related on the STEAM challenges that the organization is facing about pandemic, and how they are like facing it and improving their activities and their support of the children.
You for the opportunity. So let me help Miss Monica, to represent Miss Monica from Indonesia, and what are our challenges during this pandemic situations. The first thing that we experience in Indonesia is about the limited activities. So everyone noticed that we have more screen time, but less activities for the students and also for the teachers. And what come up in our mind, is it fun? No, I don't think so. Is it tiring? Yes, it is. The students and teachers are gaining weight, not knowledge. They are gaining weight. Me and myself, I gaining weight, because less activities, more screen time. And teachers learn to getting use of the technology, and that will be good. Before, I don't know what is Zoom. I don't know what is Google Meet. Now I know what is Google Meet and what is Zoom and how to operate with this and teach the student how to do this. However, the students get limited knowledge due to connection problems and other cores. Like they are doing the household core, their mom calling him to help for some duties at home, so they are not focusing while they are learning and studying at home. The second thing that we experience is the methodology is changed. The research are based on the secondary data, not based on the experiment. Students are not get used into this learning and research methodology. We, as a teacher, might be get used to it, but not the students. They are still young and they are still curious about what is there in the world waiting for them. Not just looking for the journals, papers, and learn from it, and then try to represent it or present it again into their papers. No, this is not the world yet. The world is experimenting and experiencing. And the last one that we experience in the community is it's hard to adapt for this kind of situations. I think it's for everyone. You might heard that in Indonesia we have a very big increasing patients every day and getting worse in Southeast Asia. But thankfully that right now we are just survive. We are survive in Indonesia, and we are hard to adapt for this kind of situation. It's a new thing for us. Yes, a new one for sure. Even the world has experienced it during the Spanish flu. But trust me, I haven't born yet, and therefore we take days, months, even years, to adapt with this kind of situations. Students adapt teachers adapt of these teaching and learning activities. I think those three are the biggest problem that we face in Indonesia. At the first, limited activities, more screen time, less activity, and then research based on secondary data, not based on experiment anymore. And then it's hard to adapt for this kind of situations. That's what we face in Indonesia. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kunkuro. It's amazing. Yeah, and it's like so clear that we are facing almost the same. And no matter if we are like so close or so far, we are in the same situation and facing almost the same problems. We are moving also a little bit far. We are moving to Russia, to the Czech Republic. You can close your microphone. It's okay, no problem. I think that we are having some issues. Just give me a second. We are checking. I received some information. As you know, everything in this moment is streaming live, and many things could happen when you stream live. But well, we are trying to check all the things that are happening just as soon as they confirm it. So yes, as I mentioned it, we are facing almost the same. And the idea here is that to move to another place that is really far from us also, that is the Czech Republic. I give the floor to Dr. Vasily in order to know what is happening in Russia about these challenges that the organization is facing and how they organize STEAM activities due to the pandemic and how they are facing this problem. So Dr. Vasily, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much. I welcome you all to the wonderful event that is happening now in Sonora. And also I'm very happy to see all my friends. Hello. It's very nice to see Christine, which is fantastic. You've been to Yakutsk, and also Umid Karadimir Hatun. I see that. It's fantastic. You've been to Yakutsk as well. So I've seen many of you in Yakutsk, which was wonderful. It was the event, a pre-pandemic event. As much as I say, the world have changed since then. And I think it changed in many ways to something much more different than we have expected, and therefore today it is very poignant that we are celebrating this wonderful new day of the scientific culture, which is very much the thing that made our country, Russia, as a country as it is now, because it's such a big country and something that people has to study a lot and research in order to keep it together and somehow help each other. And today I have to say that because of all these restrictions and all the developments of digital technologies, we have been able to have some new avenues to work on. For example, we started a very new and interesting projects, such as the so-called My Scientific Summer, and many kids from all different parts of Russia, from different regions, like 6-hour zone regions, joined together on a online platform to do their own local research and share their findings, work together with the expert, which is it's a fantastic project which has been going on for entire 2 summers, and in fact it's going on even now, because the kids are having their own data. They've been compiling them. Somehow they're already making some interesting research papers, etc. and it helps them to find and understand a lot about how to do the real science together with the researchers who's been on field working very hard transmitting their own knowledge and methodology of science, which is the extremely good developments. And the other thing is that we have managed to also organize our Olympiad system, which is the subject Olympiad system, in a very good way. So therefore now we have the Olympiad for the school at the school level done throughout the country at every school on a very organized manner, when we have all the Olympiad task has been devised by a very able group of people, the extremely highly specialized designers of this task, who's been working with the many Olympiads on an international level. And now this all come to the school level, which is fantastic. And now we have almost all the school in Russia doing the same Olympiad at the same time in maths, in physics, in informatics, etc. And my organization is one of the organizers of that Olympiad, which is a very exciting new development. We have been managed to bring together thousands of people working in a concert in order to give the opportunity to our school children to join to this wonderful Olympiad movements. So therefore we can somehow find new talents and bring some interested new kids into the field of science, which is another good and exciting development. And other thing is, we also, because of this, we have our traditional summer Olympiads, which is we call the International Tuimada Olympiad, which has been going on for last 26 years. And this year we finally we managed to increase the number of participants, for example, in March, to more than 260 people and bring together more than 26 countries, which is extremely good, especially in maths, because the several years it was such a slow moving development, because we had been limited by the number of physical attendees of that Olympiad. And now we have all the possibilities of having these digital revolutions results helping us to increase the number of people participating. And we have been able to discover that so many wonderful talents we have, especially in the East Asia, especially in Indonesia, for example. There's so many good maths kids there, so which is wonderful. And we've been very happy to say that all the new challenges also bringing some extremely new and bright hopes for the future of our world. So therefore I believe that we are going in a right direction, and having even this conference, which is wonderful, because I could never imagine that we've be able to sit together on this platform and chat despite of all these different time zones, etc. So thank you very much. I hope that in your parts of the world the developments also going in with the absolutely bright breakneck speed. So I think that is one of the wonderful parts of our world and life nowadays. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vasily. It's like hearing you is like a fresh air for all of us, because all of us are maybe many times we are like focusing on like not so positive things, and maybe also by the lockdown and all the things that are around us, many times we lose the way to think that this situation that we are facing is not only like a limitation, but it's also a possibility to start something new and to make things happen in a different way, but making things happen. So I want to move a little bit faster because we have a lot of things to discuss now. So, but I will give the floor to Mrs. Umit Karademir, that is our representative from Turkey, in order to know a little bit more what are they doing to continue making these activities about STEAM, that also they are facing the situation of pandemic, but how they are facing this situation and how they are pushing kids to participate on STEAM education and STEAM activities. So I give the floor to Mrs. Sumit. Thank you so much. The mic is yours.
Okay, hello everyone, my dear friends. For the difficulties of organizing STEM activities, economic, working environment, procurement of necessary materials can be counted, especially in our country, since there is an exam-centered education system, and it is not in the school curriculum directing students to STEM studies, can only be realized with the efforts of children and educators. In particular, students who are curious and talented in STEM apply to our center, and we curious and talented in STEM apply to our center, and we provide consultancy to them in line with their interest, and we carry out various STEM activities. We organize the international Buca IMSEF competition in order to increase these STEM studies in our country and encourage students from different cities of our country to study STEM.
Thank you so much, Umit. It's really sure that we are doing things like this in all our organizations. And well, I give the floor to the next speakers that we have and participants of this roundtable. That is Ashley Ushua, that is from Macau. She's a representative from Macau, and it's also far away from us. But I would like to know what is happening in Macau and how are you facing all this situation of pandemic due to your STEAM activities. The mic is yours, Ashley.
Hello, everyone. Due to the pandemic, we do face a lot of challenges like most of the other country, and especially no physical, not as much physical activity, and the government has been putting up quite some restriction, especially recently we have some more new cases confirmed with the Delta variants, and I think another very important challenges we have is funding. Because the whole economy has been influenced quite badly. So government has been cutting budget on different aspects. So schools are actually have been cut in budget, and so usually for STEAM it's actually in the last priority for some school, especially. So depends on the schools. So some school put less emphasis on STEAM education and stuff. And another challenge would be since the one thing is the funding on the materials, on the materials of the science project. Another thing is the the bonuses or incentive for teachers because it's an extra curriculum project. So usually teachers get incentive when leading some students to do science project. So this is also a big limitation because we know that teachers in this case play a very important role in the science project, leading the student to carry out things like that. So yeah, so we hope that the pandemic will get to a better situation, and yeah, so the whole influence will get better.
Yeah, I think that everybody is praying and asking for that, like an urgent, like to close all these kind of things. But well, let's move a little bit like faster, and now it's time to start talking about a little bit about the International Day of Culture and Scientific Culture. What is a scientific culture for all of us? So I want to ask and raise the question that is, why do you think that it's important that the common people, that all of us as a normal people, integrate in our lives the science? What is important that science is integrated in our people culture? So I give the floor, and I want to check what are you thinking, Mr. Bob Kelly, that is also from WAM, a representative from WAM. So I will wonder to have your participation. The mic is yours.
The importance of science in our daily life, I think, has been shown very much throughout this last pandemic, where everybody's Google search is more important and more valuable than what true scientists say. I was at a meeting with one of our public health experts here on Guam, and somebody in the audience was challenging him with stories from Google that were fictitious at best, and convinced that this man who spent his life and education working in the public health field was wrong, and as a result of that was kind of attacking him in front of everybody. So I really think that particularly in this day and age, we need to understand what science is, what science can do, and what science can bring to all of us. And so I think that the International Day of Science really is important to get the focus back on what science is and how it can help shape our future. The concept of experimentation, rejecting hypotheses once given new data. These are all important elements of science that people tend to forget. News media will disparage a public official who changes his or her mind when faced with new information, and not understanding that new information brought a new conclusion. And so I think that really is kind of vital in what we're doing and what the world has today. So I think that incorporating science into our lives is kind of an important one to understand as the world grows more and more complex, how we can meet the challenges that will spring up.
I think that it's like amazing how you are like summarizing all the things, and it's also important to remember how we started as a child with this curiosity about things, and maybe this kind of curiosity is something that when the people are growing and we are losing this curiosity, and unfortunately this scientific background, like in a basic level. So yeah, you're right. Maybe we need to start making more things like in a normal way about researching, asking, making an hypothesis, and having conclusions and so on. But what do you think about this topic, Mrs. Una McCarthy? what do you think that what is important that to have also this science in the people's culture?
Very much. I would like to reiterate, well, I would reiterate what has already been said, because they are incredibly important points in this pandemic era. But in terms of also climate change and other matters that are going to become more and more of a problem in our future, that also comes to mind as how important it is to have a basic science literacy built into our education system. I also want to point out how science and STEM activities can develop the soft skills that are desperately needed for the next generation coming up, who will be navigating careers that we are not even aware of yet. So the fact that science can develop lifelong learning skills and problem-solving skills and all these skills that are going to be so important for the next generation, who are really going to be solving and looking after us in our old age. We need to make a kind of set the stage for them to gain the skills that they will need to keep us safe, but also to build a better world for their own children as well. So I think having science as built into everyday life and having making sure that everyone, even if they're not going to follow a scientific career, it is incredibly important to be able to have scientific thinking skills, analytical thinking skills, and critical thinking. So I believe it's incredibly important for the future of the planet. And I will hand the mic back to you. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Zuna, thank you so much for your collaboration and your participation. And I was thinking that, yeah, many times we need to encourage and to give the feedback and trying that the people understand that all around the world and all around us, even us, is about science. But how can we face these people that many times are not connecting with us, with science, and saying that it is so complex, or trying to avoid that? So, and for sure, getting them in the field that scientific is important for the culture in all our countries. So I give the floor to Dr. Min from Thailand, if you can give us your opinion.
So I would think that to have science which is integrated in people's culture, I would think of scientific methodology, scientific mind that people have, so which would help people realize about the facts, about the the fact of things that would happen. So we used to believe in ghosts, and later we developed our knowledge to have more understanding about things, and we can prove by using science. And scientists also can help society to develop and to grow, to create new culture out of the science. And at the same time, you can also protect your culture using science, right? For example, I've heard about the stained glass in a church that now they have some technique, using some technique to rebuild, and then you can keep your culture in terms of the object, buildings, and so on, so that your culture can keep going, right? So that is my point of view of the importance of science that should be integrated in people's culture. Thank you.
It's really wonderful to understand and to hear, because yeah, this is a huge topic, and many times science, religions, believings, like many times it's like overlapping, other times not, but this is not the case in this moment. We will focus on science, but you are right. The idea is that science can answer like anything that you have like an idea, or at least is in a process, because for sure also our understanding is like also in a process. But well, so I will move the floor and the microphone to hear about a little bit more about what implies to have a scientific background. So if you are, all of you are like having a scientific background, a degree, a master or PhD. So why or how do you think that it affects or benefits your life? What are the difference if you have not selected the scientific fields that you already select, and what is important and why is important, or what implies this selection in your life? So I give the floor to Mrs. Arlene Chua, that is our representative from Guam. So the mic is yours, please.
Apologize, Miss Chua had to duck out. I'm sorry, she had an issue she had to take care of.
Well, we can move it directly to you, Dr. Bob, if you can answer this question and give us your feedback and your own situation.
Sure. No problem. My specific situation right now is that I need to find a charger, but otherwise, I will also tell you a secret that I'm not much of a scientist. I'm school administration, and I came to this through the social studies. But I will say that I've really enjoyed these presentations that I've seen at the various scientific conferences, and I like to think of myself as a little bit of a more of a Renaissance person. So I do enjoy science and watching science and the students and the teachers involved. I'm amazed every year at the projects our students and all of your students come up with at all of these conferences. The ideas that they're managed to test, and the ability of themselves to test it is really phenomenal. And so it's been interesting to watch all of that develop throughout the years, as we've seen. And I don't know about the rest of you, but we've gone and taken many of the posters of our former students and put them up in the school so that other kids can see what their predecessors have done. And when I give tours of the school to prospective parents and students, I always stop and make a point of pointing out what the kids are working on in science. And it's phenomenal. If I think back to now, I'm particularly old, and so if I think back to when I was in high school and the projects that we were studying, I'm sure there were some kids who were doing some pretty fantastic things, but yeah, certainly I was busy trying to determine if an acid or a base, so the concepts of what these kids are working on really it just is phenomenal to me, and I so enjoy watching the presentations from the students from all around the world, and seeing what the students in Thailand are working on, seeing what the students in Cambodia are working on. The other thing that I would just add very quickly is, as far as the last question that we were talking about was, I think it's important to also understand the science of our areas from the past. In Guam, we had a very specific type of boat that was well designed and very fast. And that was something that was developed over the years and over the ages. And so I think we'd also be well served by looking at what science was 400 years ago in our areas. But again, that's the social studies teacher in me. So so that's my answer.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bob. I think that it is not a problem. In my perspective, I think that also this concept of science has been opened so big. And even if you are like an administrator, sorry, I think that it is totally related because you are using maths. And maths, it's like one of the basics scientific areas of knowledge. So I think that everyone, we have like some relation of science, even if we are not always like thinking as a chemistry or as a biologist or as a physician or an engineer. I think that everything is linked. So I can say that you are also scientific because also you are like making some calculus. You are like having hypotheses if something is going well or bad in your business or in anything. So I think that all of us have something about a scientific inside of us. Just like a small comment, I will give the special greetings to our Dr. Celida Lopez that unfortunately she needs to leave our session. And I really, really thank you for your kindness and your support with this activity. And hopefully we will continue for the coming years and the further events. And thank you so much, Dr. Celida, for being with us and for joining and supporting this activity.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day. And I hope to be here, everybody in Sonora. My governor, Alfonso Durazo, will be very glad to receive you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Celida. And we will continue here with all the other speakers. So we will move to Dr. Vasily in order to let us know this kind of thing, that how has it been to have a scientific background, what implies for you and your life, and what is the advice that you give to the people that are thinking to have or not a PhD or a master or a degree in science?
Basically, I'm from the very remote part of the world. In fact, I was born in the middle of nowhere. As people usually say, I was actually born in a area which is in the middle of the absolutely endless taiga, which is the nearest town was about 1,600 kilometers away. So when I had a problem of having my appendicitis, so there was luckily one doctor hunting around, and he gave me this operation, you see, using his knife. So that was the life, you see, in that part of the world. And being part of the scientific community helped me a lot, because it's actually you are the members of that global community, and you are transcending some borders and having all these different understandings of things, and also different people and their cultures, etc. is all becoming so extremely easy to get to know things and so on. So I would advise younger people to look for research and scientific degrees as a means of getting some bridges to a absolutely a plethora of different communities worldwide, which is run with the same principles, which we call the science, basically, which is the very, as I would say, the Western Greek idea, which has been developed into an extremely global, and in fact, very much a winning sort of project, which is going on now and taking roots all over the place. And in fact, in Russia, we do need a little bit of critical thinking, especially at the school level. Maybe even earlier, maybe at the preschool level, because at the moment we're experiencing incredible resistance to scientific ideas by our folk, because people actually not taking vaccines, etc., which is actually having a real problem for us, you see, generally. But nowadays, younger people having more scientific background compared to their parents, so they are more keen and easy to accept new ideas, etc. So I have very much hope that the very specific way of science may also be part of the journey for the younger people, for some of the young people. Thank you.
Dr. Vasily, thank you so much. And it's incredible to know your complete history and all the story about this far away place that you were born. I didn't know it, so it's amazing. It's amazing how the needs makes you improve and to get into science, also to achieve the things that you need to live and to survive. So I would like to move to 3 more participation, and after that I will close. We will close the session. So I will give the floor to Mrs. Umid Karademir in order to know a little bit more about her point of view about this situation of the importance to having scientific culture in the people's culture, and also what has been implying to be a scientific in her life. So Umid, merhaba, could you give us your ideas, please?
Each country has a different level of development and has a different culture. Universities are born out of necessity. Therefore, STEM practice also differs, as different cultures will have different needs. These needs will determine the scientific study subjects. It is necessary to integrate science into the need of this culture. As a result of the diversity of plants in our country, medicines are made from local plants for many diseases. Currently, we see that the raw materials of many of the drugs on the market are similar to the drugs made in local places. We can see the relationship between culture and STEM in this example. For example,
that's great. Thank you, Meet, because it's sure, and it is true. Many times we do not see all the examples that we have for this importance to have this scientific culture. So I will give the floor to Dr. Min. I think I'm pretty sure that you have many things to say due to your degrees and your background as a scientific. Could you give us your opinion, please?
Thank you. So we used to be customer, and I look in terms of the growth, the progress, the improvement of the society as a whole. In the previous era, we used to be consumer. So we used to teach students to be good consumers, to buy things wisely, to live their lives wisely. But now the world is changing. So the trend is like we have to move towards being the producer. So the way we have to teach students will be different, and the background that student will need in the future will be different from nowadays. For example, the skills that they have to have would not be only the knowledge, but they need to have skills to present. They have to skill to do experiments, skill to sell things. So in our school right now, we are trying to give them an opportunity to see not only the science, but also to see the the entrepreneurship, to see how we can use science to make money, right? So as a school, we need to train them to have a scientific background, but right now we have to train it in a different way, right? So to have a scientific background nowadays, it would help people to live, to create, to make products, and to make money, right? So and not only the knowledge, but they have to add a lot of skills in their in students, in people that will grow and be part of the society. So I think it is quite important to have the scientific background in everyone. It helps to understand. It helps you to stay away from fake news. So if you have scientific mind, you know that news that come into your on your screen have to be checked. And if something is weird, you know how can you check it, if it is true or not true, before you believe, before you share it, something like that. So this is actually the basic basic things that people nowadays need to have to live safely, right? So there are a lot of things that can harm you in some way. Fake news. If you believe in some news, that might that might harm you in some way. Your money in the bank account, if you click on the link that is sent from unknown person, and if you don't have just a basic knowledge that how clicking the link can affect your account, how can it affect your personal data, for example. So if you know that, okay, how things work, then you can be safe. You can not only be growing, but also be safe when you grow as well. So I think it is very, very important to have the scientific background in many ways, not only in physics, chemistry, and biology, but also in computer science. And yeah, that's all my answer. Thank you.
Thank you to you, Dr. Min. The needs have changed, and maybe at the beginning of the human era, the needs was hunting or making things like in a making things to do things and to achieve like the meals or something like that. But now, as you said, the needs is like to understand how mechanics or how an apparatus and devices are changing our lives and giving us or not the control of our own administrative situation, our lives, our services, and so on. So I give the floor to one of our youngest team leaders, that is Ashley. I go back to you, my dear, and to know a little bit more, what do you think about this situation, about what is important and why, and to add something else of all those things that has been receiving from other leaders. about why it's important to have this scientific inside of our people's culture.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Yeah, I think yeah, so science is everywhere. It's in our, like other professor and doctors, they said that it's in our culture, in our history, and it's our future. And yeah, that's why it's so important, and it help us develop to a better society, better country, and a better world. And also, like for us in our association, we also try to integrate science into younger kids' life. So as I introduced in the previous event, so we also do create a lot of activities to even younger kids, like from 4 to 8 years old even. So we also have hands-on workshop for them. And yeah, the purpose is really to bring science to their life in the early age, to help create their interest and help them to get immersed into this environment.
I agree. Well, I think that it is my position is to moderate, but I completely agree with you. And just to conclude this session of question and answer, well, more than question and answer, it's like a discussion and know a little bit more about all of us. I will give you the floor because I already reviewed it, that Dr. Luis Vargas, that is a representative from Ecuador, a Latin American country, in this session, is connected. So, Dr. Vargas, if you are hearing us, could you open your microphone and your camera and give us some words about any of the topics that we have been discussing about the importance of the culture in the people's culture, the importance of the scientific culture in the people's culture, or what is important as a scientific to have this background, and what is happening in Ecuador. We are glad to know more about Ecuador. So I give you the floor. Okay, I think that he is having some issues or some troubles with the connection maybe. But well, just to close this activity, I will be glad to receive Monica, if it is possible, Monica Reharty, the president of APCYS, to close this session and to give us the last words of this dynamic. And after that, I will give you a little advice about cultural event that we will have tomorrow. But Monica, if you can open your microphone and give us your comments. Thank you so much. Okay, I think that something is happening, or I'm getting blind a little bit. But it's really, I don't know if you can give us like a words on behalf of Monica.
I'll try. Sorry, Monica was going home from the airport. She changed her gadget and then it ran out of batteries. So I'm sorry she's not here. But to comment on everybody, I think having this pandemic has actually made us all change our views about many things. Here, it's doubly difficult being an archipelagic country where distances and the level of technology is also not very uniform across the country. But I can see one of the best parts of the pandemic is because we've increased our network in a way, even though it's only virtual. So we have more friends. Again, it's only virtual, but still we can make some sort of network. Although what is missing is that the students are not able to make the network, seeing their other friends offline. But again, APCYS has always been, every year, we always have a leaders meeting where we exchange ideas, and this is where we learn a lot from each other and how we can, learning from each other, we can see which parts can we apply to our own situation or not. I just hope on behalf of all the steering committee that APCYS this year in Mexico virtually will still be a great success. We have many new countries joining and many new countries with many new problems. But I think most of you have also offered some type of solutions for how to keep our students active, curious, and still have the scientific mind with them. Again, Monica is WhatsApping me, and she's saying, apologize for not being here, but she hopes that we all will have a good time and a great time together, even though it's virtual. Thank you, Barry.
Marjorie, it's amazing, and thank you so much on behalf of the of Monica and you and all this organizing committee that we are here in Hermosillo. And with these words, I want to close this session. It has been really amazing to share this information, ideas, opinions, and concerns of all of you in this activity. I hope that you have enjoyed it. And I need to let you know, for all of you and all the audience that are watching us through the social media, Facebook and YouTube, that tomorrow we will have a fantastic event called it Cultural Event. So our cultural event will have a lot of surprises. The first one, we will see all the video blogs that we have receiving from many countries of our participants. And after that, we will have a session very interactive with all our participants, like trying many things new, knowing a little bit more about ethnics here in Sonora. Oh, I give you a clue, but it's okay. And also we will have like a contest of one important application that many of you may know. So prepare Kahoot, prepare to distress a little bit and to join us and to take care of ourselves and enjoy and fun for a little bit. So see you tomorrow. Thank you so much to all of you, and we will continue soon.
I'm Anuj Sinha, speaking from Mileset, India, and bring you greetings on the first International Day of Scientific Culture. Hearty felicitations, citizens of the world. In space, defense, agriculture, health, education, energy, India has many success stories. However, there is a big disconnect between the perception of the common man and the research work that is being done in universities and laboratories. It is this responsibility of scientists to discuss the implications, benefits, dangers, abuse of the research that we do. So whether it is genetically modified foods, environmental clearances for projects, energy generation by the nuclear route, climate action, we need to have this debate in the public space, for which the common man must understand the research that we do. The problems that our generation confronts are the results of scientific solutions of earlier generations. That is the wisdom we must imbibe. Decision makers, legislators, influencers all need to have better understanding of science and the method of science. Astrology, supernatural beliefs, scientific accomplishments in mythology need to be thrown into the dustbin, and rationality must rise. Congratulations once again on the International Day of Scientific Culture.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kwek Yong Chuan, PhD, of course, and one of the steering committee members of APCYS, and coming from Singapore. Now, I'm supposed to talk about two important questions, one of which is that why is it important that science can be integrated into people's culture and daily lives? Well, science is a culture, strictly speaking, but the transmission, the teaching, and the learning of science is cultural. And so it's important to put it in the cultural context so that the learners can best benefit from this teaching. So it is in this sense that I think it's important for science to carry some to be taught in some cultural context so that it is easier for the learner to absorb it. Now, regarding another question on scientific education. Now, a scientifically educated person is aware of various scientific ethics. So it's not just the knowledge that counts. A scientifically educated person knows how important it is to be to develop science and what are the consequences behind the science that he or she is delivering. So this is, to me, a very important point. Anything else, of course, will come after that. In short, an educated person is not just a wise person, but well, he or she has to be scholarly in terms of ethics and also knowledge. Thank you very much.